Hello. Last night I saw the movie Il Postino, the Postman. Okay, so this is about a 1994 film by Michael Radford, and he is I think a British director, and one of the characters in this film, played by Massimo Troisi. He's an Italian actor who played the Mario. This story is about a relationship between like a Nobel Prize awarded Chilean poet. His name is Pablo Neruda. And he, I think, mostly famous for the love poems. And I think many female readers liked his poems. And however, this particular story is a fiction. And I think he actually exiled in Chile, a little bit remote area or whatever, but in this setting he was exiled in Italian small island Italy, and he worked there as a poet, and this local Italian Mario was assigned to deliver the mails to this poet. And that's when the relationship developed between this poet and the man, Mario. And it's very poignant story in a twofold, I would say. This Mario is played by Massimo Troisi. He also wrote, I think, the screenplay too. But he was like a popular actor at the time in Italy, and but he was sick. He was like a heart problem, having a heart problem, and he was very weak. And so if you see this film, you can see his acting is it's very good. However, kind of a weak delivery and a weak, standing stance, and can tell that he is not 100% a vigorous person. And but anyway, I don't want to divulge the story, but it is a very beautiful story between those two people relationship, and beautiful scenery in Italy's Mediterranean landscape, and I would say this particular film, without knowing much in detail, without knowing much, this is a fact or not, almost you feel like, well, I have to buy this Pablo Neruda's poems book or something, because it's so powerful in a sense that this particular poet is very loving to this man, and try to help him to do something, and this particular man was kind of opened his eyes to the power of the language, power of the poetry, and he became like a poet himself, and that process is very nice. And but this particular actor, Massimo Troisi, died before this film was completed, and so this particular movie became very famous because of that too as well. So when I saw this first time, or when this came out, 1994, it came out to the theater, and of course I went to see that because this was very, very popular and famous at the time, and I loved it. Beautiful Italian Mediterranean sceneries and everything, love stories and everything. I really liked it. Music was very nice too, and I thought that was a true story. True story of this particular point. Almost like a true story, but it's a fiction. It's a location was a fiction, and I think a relationship. I think it's indicated that when he was exiled to some of the remote village in Chile, he had this particular person delivering a mail to him. So it's not like 100% fiction, but it is mostly fictionalized, of course. And but watching this, I realized that the power of the poetry, and it's depicted very well here. And why, some people are kind of as an art, open their eyes and to discover the fantastic, this power of the poetry. And I think that's very important because me myself, I don't read poem that much. I have several books of most famous poetry or something like that, but I don't get it because it's I know it's a beautiful beautiful depictions of the small, in the small words. I mean, it's not like a long stories or anything, but it doesn't sustain with me, the poetry itself. And so I cannot aspire to read more poetry or anything like that in general. And but by reading watching this film last night, I thought, wow, I have to buy Pablo Neruda's poetry book or something. So that's how powerful it is. And I think the language has a power. As a human, Homo sapiens is the only one who used the language. And so the culture, language culture, like fiction, storytelling, poetry, songs and so forth, uses all language. And sometimes it's kind of a hit people mind that that particular depictions of the incidents or whatever by language is very, very powerful. And in that reason, for that reason, I would say people write. I mean, people are encouraged to write whatever the journal, fictions, non-fiction, diary, for example, to let your thoughts out to the other people. And I think that particular power is, I think, in general, for other people to read those are very powerful, but in a sense, I think for the person to express that feeling by language is somewhat, I think, for this person, very liberating and powerful way of releasing their energies for creation, art, and so forth. So I strongly recommend this particular film. Beautifully shot, beautifully made, and you fall in love with this movies. And I bought this a while ago. This is a DVD. Of course, I saw maybe twice. I saw before, and good enough for me to buy the DVD. But until yesterday, it was still sealed, so I never watched this DVD. Probably I bought like 10 years ago, something like that. And so this DVD was watched for the first time last night, and I strongly recommend. And you can just watch it as an Italian film. I think that's what I watched, and it's wonderful. You know, if you love the Italian culture, Italian cinema, this is one of the things that you shouldn't miss. But it's based on the fiction, so you have to be aware. Paul Neruda was got the Nobel Prize anyway, and became like a national hero in Chile, and very well loved. And in the U.S. too, in the whole world, I think his poetry book is well loved. People in this particular DVD, there is this documentary about this movie, but for Pablo Neruda's poetry as well. So many like great actors and singers like Sting, Julia Roberts, all the great actors, Andre Garcia, and are reading his poems, and this particular bonus materials of the documentary show that, and that itself is somewhat very moving to me, very good, because poetry has some power. So that's my few cents today. Bye.